What do you call somebody who works in the front end of WordPress or Magento or Shopify and never touches code but calls themselves a web developer? Well, in today's Morning for Visionaries, we're going to, try to figure that out because a person who never touches code is not a web developer. They're not even a developer nor a programmer. So let's try to figure it out because it's really something that bothers me. In another video, I did talk about kind of the differences between web designer, web developer, and somebody kind of like this. So today we're going to focus just on that because it is a topic that really bothers me. The backstory about this is that I've been trying to hire a mid-ish level web developer, and trying to find somebody is really tough. If I paid $1 bazillion, it would probably be a lot easier, but I don't have $1 bazillion budget, so I have to be reasonable about what I can and can't hire, and I'm trying to figure this out. And a lot of people who submit their resumes call themselves a web developer when they're not. What do I mean by this? These people try to call themselves web developers, and they never touch code. They just work in Divi, Shopify. So let me backtrack a little bit. In WordPress, they would just be, for example, only ever using Divi, only using ever Elementor, WP Bakery. I hate that app. Or just tools like this. They never touch code. This is not a web developer. If they are working on your Shopify site, but they never touch code, never touch theme files, or anything like this, they're not a web developer. Simply not. If they are experts in Squarespace, but never have developed anything for that, they're not web developers, not programmers, they're not anything. Well, they're not anything. They are, and I've been trying to figure out what to call them. And I wanted to initially call them junior front-end web developers, but the junior role, by the way, is correct. They are junior something. If they never touched code, they're not a web developer. Could they potentially call themselves junior and absolutely junior, complete newbie front-end web developers? Yes. Could they call themselves web developers? No. They're definitely not programmers, that's for sure. So what do we call these people and what do we do with them? I'm honestly not 100% sure. The biggest thing I do know is that they are junior roles because they really don't have much experience in anything web developer related. They can't program APIs, they can't program integrations, they can find plugins. They're kind of like admin staff, sort of. They're kind of like the IT support, sort of, the frontline IT support, the level 1 IT support that you call on the phone, and they kind of go through a script. That's what these people kind of generally are. I don't want to disparage these people too much because there is a place for people like this. There is a need for people who can do this front end work and kind of put things together using these tools. There is a role and a value for this. Don't get me wrong, but they're not web developers. Because a web developer will be able to connect tools in any way, shape, or form, front end, back end, middle, and you could specialize. By the way, you could be a front end developer. A front end developer knows HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Node. They don't. By the way, I'm not saying you have to know all of these things, right? But they know Angular. They know how to connect things via APIs, and especially if they're a good front end developer, they do know some backend and middle work because once they are connecting via APIs, they will have to be doing a lot of data manipulation to get it all to work. So, and if you really, really are a good front-end developer, then you really know how to work with all these templates and make pretty much everything sing within just your front-end development tools, because at that point you really are going to back-end development anyway, because all the magic happens over there in Node or Angular or jQuery. So you are a front-end developer, but kind of doing back-end development work in the front end. So that's what a good developer does. They know how to manipulate all these data, all these technologies to sing and dance to their tune. A back-end developer knows the server stuff to a degree, depending on how you specialize. They know the back-end logic and code and the business data and how all that stuff works and communicates then that data to the front end. Backend developers also usually know some decent amount of front-end work so they can display their data, right? A silly little example is actually Amazon's tools, not the consumer-facing. Well, the consumer nerdy tools is a good example of developers who've never designed, because a lot of their designs on AWS are not designed well. I think the experience there really needs some help, but that's that. And somebody who cannot do any of those things is not a web developer. So if they're saying, yeah, we're a web developer, and you ask them, okay, show me some code, and they're like, oh, well, I can show you this website front end stuff because I did it in WP Bakery, in Divi, in Elementor. Like, okay, no, code. I want to see your code and how you did the logic, and so you do some custom work. And then they can't, and then not the web developers. You shouldn't be hiring them for a web developer role, except maybe for a junior role where they learn and grow with you, or as an admin role just to build things out. They call themselves web developers, but they're not, and it just really bothers me. So what can we do about this? Well, one, not hire them as web developers, hire them as mainly as just front-end junior staff. Again, I don't know a specific label to put them, because again, not web developers, not designers, and usually they're not really good at designing either. I don't know. But a junior role, a person who can build out front ends, possibly, if anything, I said this a few times, I think already, just calling them, I guess, junior front-end developers. That's probably the only thing we can call them, because that's at best what they are. And that's it for today's Morning for Visionaries. It was kind of a rant, really, about me being tired of people calling themselves web developers when they're not developers or programmers at all, because that's very specialized, and a lot of people out there in the world, especially for lower end prices, they're not programmers, and that bothers me. So that's it for today's Morning for Visionaries. If you have any thoughts about programming, web development, and what people should be calling themselves, and kind of the ideas and things people should be learning, let me know in the comments, because I'd really love to discuss and debate this with y'all online. Thanks much. See you around.